Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's stream where we are testing Are You Psychic? Today, I'm your host, interdimensional spiritual psychic Julie. We have Mystic Brett, who is super psychic to the stars.
Hello?
And we have Life After Life, our very own medium.
Or extra large. Hi.
I hope everybody is doing really well. We'll say a quick hello to Jazzy, Kim. We had Daniel here earlier. Welcome, everybody. How's everyone doing?
Fine.
What have you been up to, Brett? I'd just like to say that the link for Urban Wildlife UK, which is Brett's channel, is in the top of the chat. And Brett has some exciting news which is going to happen later today. Do you want to tell us about that, Brett?
Yeah, I'm finally installing a big PTZ camera. So we're going to have close-ups on birdies on the channel. Jazz is going to be excited because it's finally going to get to see the magpies because I can literally scan all around the garden with it. But basically, it's a second camera I bought. It's actually cost me a lot of bloody money. But well worth it. I tried it out the other day and you can literally zoom right in on the birds and stuff. So I might hopefully be doing night streams occasionally as well to see if we get any kind of animals in the garden at night, apart from the rodents, which I know we do get.
Yeah.
But, it might be interesting to see if we get foxes or hedgehogs or anything like that.
Have you got night vision, yeah?
Yeah, both the camera I've got set up on the feeders is night vision, but this is a big PTZ surveillance camera, pan tilt and zoom.
Oh yeah,
But
right.
The light on the camera's got 100-meter IR range, so it's a really powerful night vision camera as well.
Yeah, I do have a night vision spotlight for those type of cameras.
Mm-hmm.
And the spotlight is pretty brilliant.
Yeah, well, what I'm thinking of doing is getting an IR spotlight for in the garden. So if we do start getting foxes or anything like that, I'm going to floodlight the garden with IR.
Yeah. It wasn't that expensive either, the spotlight.
No, they're not. I've been looking on YouTube. I think on Amazon, I think they're about 40 quid for a Wi-Fi control. One that I can control by Wi-Fi in the house.
Oh right. No, the light I got was about 10 quid, 15 pounds.
Yeah. I want one that I can adjust the brightness up and down on.
All right.
And I can actually adjust other things without actually going out and disturbing anything if there's anything in the garden. So I need a Wi-Fi one.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
Thank you, Kim. Hello to Sky from Just One Night, Mark and Annette, and Seago. Hello. And Jazzy. I don't think I said hello to Jazz. I'm trying to find this other thingy. I'm sorry.
So what's the plan then, Julie? How are we going to do this?
All right. So first of all, I have 3 envelopes behind me. And in each of these envelopes is a name. Now, it's not just any random name. It is a name of someone who visits the stream on a regular basis. That's probably going to give you quite a lot of clues. So at the end of the stream, we'll open each of those.
Okay.
As long as you can't see through them.
I was just looking. I was just looking to see if I could see.
I bet you were. Seago's looking too. All right, so this is one of my favorites, and I haven't done it for a little while. It's my little box, and inside I have 3 items. I can't really give you any clues or it's going to give it away. I can't even remember what I stuck in there. I did it yesterday. So have a think about what you think might be in here, and we can open that up as well.
So we've got to think about what you might have stuck in your box. Okay.
Yes. My little box.
So there's 3 things in the box.
There are 3 things in here.
There's a theme forming here. 3 names, 3 things in the box.
They're all in threes. Okay. Tim is saying a shell, a coin, and a rock. Do you think we should do the box first? We'll get that out of the way.
Have we got a guess now?
Yeah, you can have a guess now.
I'm going to say then a coin, a little plastic toy, and a crystal.
Okay.
Oh, I best type it so people can't claim because I did quite well on this last time I did it.
We have to be quite clear that we have had nothing. We just came on the stream 15 minutes before things started. We don't know what's in any box, any envelope, nothing. We just came on. We started talking to each other. Julie prepared everything. We have nothing to do with it at all. Do you know?
Yep. Very true. Okay. So Josie says a bracelet, yellow flower, and a candle. Sky said a key, a leaf, and a crystal. Brett's was coin, plastic toy, and crystal. Hi, Rick. Hi, Carol. Why am I seeing chickens? Eggs or Easter? Says Carol. Ooh, Rick says leaf, feather, crystal.
I wish you'd call people by the channel names. I never know who you're frigging talking about.
Sorry.
When you use the first names.
Black Rose is Rick.
Right, okay.
Hi, Daniel. So, Daniel, and for anyone who's just come in that doesn't know yet, we have 3 items in the box. So, visualize what you think is inside and have a guess, and we'll open it up. Does Sam have a guess yet?
No. The only thing that's coming through sort of is some sort of string or chain of some kind. That's all I have at the moment.
Okay.
Possibly something metal as well.
Mm-hmm.
And something like a piece of cloth. I'm not fully sort of there yet, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yep. All right. Seago shell, necklace, and coin.
It's quite interesting that both coin and crystal seems to be popular with people.
Yeah.
And both of them were in my guesses, so they're all going to be wrong, folks. Change them.
Ring, crystal, and cross, said Mark and Annette. So while I have a peek here, I'm going to take my glasses off so no one's cheating.
You forgot what you put in there already.
I did, yeah. I remembered one thing. I know what it is now.
When did you put them in the box?
Yesterday.
And you forgot already?
Yeah. I'm hopeless. I remember what these are because I did them like literally 5 minutes before I got on with you guys. I'm terrible. Once Sam has a bit of a guess, if she's ready.
Oh, sorry. Right.
No, you're right.
Right. A chain or a piece of string.
Mm-hmm.
A coin and a little cloth bag.
Okay. Has everyone had a guess?
I think so.
I think they have. All right, so the first thing was a little key ring. This is probably where the ring was coming in for some people,
Mm-hmm.
or perhaps the round like a coin, although it
Yeah.
is wood.
Right.
The second one, which someone got, was a feather.
Cool.
And the third one was paper.
See, I told you I'm crap at this.
And it had something written on it. Halloween.
Halloween. Cool.
So that's what was in there.
So how many people actually got any of them right? Rick got it right with feather.
Yes, with feather. I'm not sure if anyone else got any of them.
Nobody actually mentioned wood. A lot of us said coins, so that was close with the key ring.
It was the round. It's actually kind of ironic too, because remember last time we did a psychic stream and we were saying, oh, I almost said that, or I almost put that in.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went and picked up the box yesterday, the things that I took out of it from the last stream we did was a little plastic toy. There was a little bag. It was a plastic bag, not cloth, but it was a little plastic bag thing. And I took candles from off the top of the box. And all of those came up in all of your guesses.
Seagull wants to know if he can change his answers.
You want to redraw, Seago?
Talking about funny occurrences before we carry on.
Mm-hmm.
You know when you get your memories pop up on Facebook every day of what you did that day?
Yeah.
Mine this morning, and I thought it was really interesting, was a picture from 2016 of the ticket Jason bought us to go and see Derek Okora.
Oh.
Live on Wednesday the 28th, and this year, the 28th of February, falls on a Wednesday again. But it was so weird this morning. I thought, oh, I'm doing Julie's stream today. And the picture that pops up first on my memories in Facebook was the picture of the Derek Okora ticket.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
When we went to see Derek Okora.
Yeah.
Who's actually, for Australians who might not know, he was actually a very well-known medium over here who starred in a lot of episodes of Most Haunted.
Oh, very nice man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about now. I knew the name was familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. Me and Rachel got to kind of know him from, actually, we were trolling him at the time. And actually, we were spamming his chat with Mary Loves Dick, and he was just seeing the funny side of it. And eventually, we just gave up, and we just said, "Sorry, Derek, we were just having a bit of a laugh and that." And he says, "Oh, that's okay." And he messaged us and everything, and I thought, "Geez, this guy's a legend." Like, you know, he's such a nice person, you know. You know, no, I don't believe in, I'm very skeptical about psychic stuff and all the rest of it. But geez, he was such a nice person.
Yeah.
You know, a gentleman.
Sky said, guessing isn't a psychic skill, I guess. Laugh out loud. Yeah, it's just the whole point of it is to try and tune in and see if you can guess what it is. That's kind of why I put these up and said I'll open them at the end of the stream, because you get to kind of look at them and see if you get anything while we're streaming.
It's not, guess is kind of a wrong word. What we're basically asking you is to, in your mind, visualize what you think that possibly is in the box.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And it's the same thing when you hold up cards. There's times there where I'm good at guessing what's on cards pretty closely. Visualize what you see on the card, and visualize what possibly is radio? It is radio. I'm lost words here. What's coming off the cards? If there's a bright color behind the card, sometimes that light you possibly can see the light coming off the back of the card, and that color kind of comes out. Try and visualize that kind of thing.
Well,
I'm not going.
All that exercise proved for me is that I'm shit at visualization.
Well, we'll see. Last time you did pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last time I used one of my tarot card sets, and it had colours on it and it had pictures as well. And a lot of you guys got colours and items from the cards. This time it's going to be a little bit different. This was actually sent to me by Kim ages ago, and it's the first time I've used it. So you've got like a book and cards inside, and these are the cards. So this is what I'm going to do, but I'm actually going to have to take my glasses off, because if I hold these up, you could probably see in my glasses, if you're clever enough, what they are. They used to do that to my nan when they were playing cards. My mother used to look in my nan's glasses and cheat. All right. So these cards will have pictures on them of various different objects, and they will also have colours. So we're going to ask you to visualise and see if you can tune in with it, I suppose. Yes, thank you, Kim. All right, first card.
Have we got to imagine what's on the card?
Yes, you can pick up an item that might be on the card or a colour.
A fairy standing in a wood with a wand in a white dress.
Kara says box. Kim says blue dog. Mark and Annette red. Sky doll in red. God, it's hard to see without my glasses on.
I didn't take mine off. The old world was blurry.
It's blurry. I just see the shapes.
White unicorn with a blue background.
Thank you.
Your top left, a bit of red or orange kind of coming mid to top red.
Okay. Let me show you. I think everyone's had a guess.
Oh. See, look, I was bang on. Look, it's a fairy in a wood with a wand.
She's just hidden in the flowers in the bouquet.
Ain't that a little fairy sitting in the basket?
I don't know. I can't see it.
Right, I can see it now.
Yeah, look, there's a little fairy with a wand.
You see the pink? You see the pink that's on your left, where your fingers are?
Yeah.
That bit of pink is the nearest pink to the side of the card, which I thought might be sort of coming off the side of it now.
Interesting. So these cards, a lot of these will have just one kind of main item on them. It's not kind of like scenery or anything like that.
Okay.
All right. Next card. Ready?
Yeah. I think he's got a green background, a shell. I don't know why I'm seeing a shell. I'm seeing like a creamy white shell colour thing. Yeah, shell.
seeing a yellow moon.
Okay, Jazz said trees. Kim, blue background and fish. Sky said eggs. Rick, a house. Seago, purple. Jazz was gonna say purple. Sky says yellow.
Yeah, I honestly think that card is connected to water. I really do.
This card.
Yeah. That definitely ain't connected to water.
No, but you're probably picking up on the blue.
Might be.
That looks like a night vision image.
Yes, it looks like a thermal image of somebody.
A thermal image, sorry, yeah.
Kim actually said a blue background too.
Yeah.
I did say yellow.
Yes, you did say yellow.
I thought it was kind of reflecting off your face, actually. That colour. I know it sounds weird and that.
Reflecting off my oily T-zone. Okay. Oh, Brett might like this one.
It's a bird.
That's not a psychic thing. It's just yeah, it's a bird.
It was funny because before you even picked the card and said that, I sat in. I thought the next guess I'm going to say is bird.
We're going to have to try and find out what kind of bird. A robin of some kind.
Yeah, it's definitely a garden songbirdie type thing. I'm getting.
If it's a bird.
If it's a bird, but that's what I'm getting. A songbird.
Butterfly, says Jazz. Sky says a green chicken.
Green chicken.
Oh, Rick says a dog. Kim says chicken. Mark and Annette say clown. Jazzy said black and red bird. Is that everyone? Seago says wolf. Okay. There's a fox.
Fuck's sake.
Foxes do eat chickens. As I said, you like it.
They eat birds as well.
Well, they eat birds. Well, maybe that's where the chicken was coming in as well. Okay.
Something to do with the sky.
Sky says green horse. Mark and Annette sun. Jazzy yellow and flower. Kim purple background red heart.
Sky needs to get off. Sky needs to get off the happy backer for seeing green horses.
I think she meant green and a horse. Rick boat water. Seago star blue.
I think it's definitely something to do with the sky, either clouds or the stars or the moon. It's definitely aerial related this time.
Welcome, Mick. Latrobe Valley, that's Mick.
Okay.
He says moon, green background, and yellow horse. Okay, ready?
See, there's a lot of sky in that picture.
There is a lot of sky. Rick said water too.
I knew there was a lot of white. And my guess was going to be a white horse. But there is a lot of white.
Got the white, yeah.
Yeah, because I could visualize white reflecting off you.
See, I was close to that one because I got it with something sky related, and that was nearly all sky.
All right, this will be interesting, this one, and then I'll change the cards. Okay, you ready? Really visualize. Really see what you can see.
Do you know what's really freaky? The first thing that popped into my head was a Ouija board, and there's absolutely no way there's a Ouija board on that card.
No, there's not.
So
But
whether
there's-
it's letters, I don't know.
Yep. Postman.
I think there's something darker on this card, a darker colour of some kind. I'm reading your face, and I'm on the right track.
I'm
I
trying
just-
not to
I'm
give
kind-
anything away.
Sorry, it was my delivery.
That's all right.
Something dark. Possibly a tree, something brown or something. I'm not on the right track. I'm reading your face. I'm right with the dark, but I'm
Yeah,
wrong
right.
with the tree.
You ain't supposed to cheat and read a face.
I'm using psychology instead. But I am right with the dark. It could be a dark sky, though. I'm sort of on the right track with that one, actually. I can read you like a book. I'm possibly going to make a fool of myself.
If this turns out to be the sun in a summer sky, you're going to look a right prat.
Yes, it's a dark sky with a moon. Possibly. I'm going to go dark sky with moon. I'm flipping wrong, though. And I'm going to make a complete tool of myself, but that's where I'll go with.
I'm just reading all of theirs. Do you have a guess, Brett?
All I've got off it, honestly, as soon as you picked it up, was a Ouija board or something to do with letters and communication. And I'm sticking with that.
All right, I'll show you all what it is.
Oh, flipping hell.
It's
That
funny.
Look how dark that card is.
It is dark, but Brett's like Ouija board, and it's the sign of the cross. You need Jesus. But the reason I was like,
I was picturing dark and light, you know?
You can't change it after you've seen what the image is, Sam.
Yeah, but can you see where I was going down? I was going with dark sky and a bright moon. You got a dark background and a bright cross.
I was going with cross because when you're on the Ouija board and you don't get nothing, you get cross, Sam.
I was thinking to myself, well, it's kind of the opposite of the Ouija.
It was really funny. I just got Ouija board as soon as you picked the card up. And I knew it wasn't going to be a Ouija board on there.
You spun me out because this was right next to me. And no, I haven't used it. It's just, a wooden thing. But it was right next to me. Mick said charades. This is actually one of my all-time favourite card sets of mine. It's the Animal Spirit cards. And these have got some really amazing pictures on them. And they've also got animals and things.
Okay. Oh, bird!
Yeah. Oh, it's a bird! Oh, we got it! All right, so we'll have a go at these. If anyone has any little things that you want to try or that, tell me and I'll go ahead and I'll do it. I had a real hard time thinking this time of...
Do you know, Jazz, that is really funny because as soon as Julie said these are animal related, the first thing that popped in my head is one of them cards is going to be a snake.
There is a snake in here.
And then Jazz just mentioned snake in the comments.
Okay.
I think it's a bear or some kind of large furry predator. That's
I'm
totally
covering
wrong.
my
'Cause-
face.
That's totally
It's
wrong
just-
because you're giggling.
I'm just covering my face so Sam can't see me. Alright, so Josie says snake. Sky says rabbit or hare. Jazz has changed her mind to an eagle. Mark and Annette owl.
Now, I'm going with large predator, bear or badger or something big and furry.
I'm going with snake. Actually, that's the first thing that came into my mind, so I'm going to stick with that.
Seago rabbit. Rick otter. Kim cougar. Mark said wolf. It's a whale.
Jesus
Oh.
Christ.
Fucking hell.
It's got no fur at all.
That's why I was laughing. Okay. Are we ready? Go.
Wolf.
Sam says wolf. Sky
And-
says lizard.
A deer or some kind of forest herbivore.
Brett says deer. Jazz said giraffe or bunny. Kim mouse. Rick cougar or lynx. Seago crocodile alligator. Annette says tiger. Someone's gonna poop their pants. It's an elk, which is like a deer.
Yeah, there you go.
Break that one.
Yeah.
I had to hide behind the card because when you said that, I was like, whoop.
That is something like an hedgehog or a rat or a rabbit. It is a little small furry thing.
It's an eagle.
Eagles ain't furry.
No.
Sky says frog. Jazz says penguin. Kim says crow. Seago says, well, he is psychic to the stars. You'd expect him to get at least one. And that lion. Mark tiger. Seago says dolphin. Rick says bear. Okay. Small and furry, you were on the right track. It's a spider.
Close.
It's
It's small and got hairs.
That was my psychic powers working. Arachnid. Alright. Tune in with your minds. Let your psychic powers speak for you. Alright, ready?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's something that lives in water.
It's a mouse.
I'm sorry. Sky's going for frog. Annette says a snake. Jazz says
I thought Mark was calling a net a snake there.
Jazzy said a bird with open wings. Rick a falcon. Jazzy a kangaroo. Sigo a lion. Mark an eagle. Okay, ready?
Yeah. Do you know, I was going to say frigging snake.
You weren't.
Honestly, I was going to say snake, and then I thought, no, it's going to be a water creature this time.
And Nate got one.
Some snakes are water creatures, actually.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you can get water
Because the one
snakes.
that popped in my head was grass snake, and they're aquatic.
Okay. This is a good one.
Okay.
Have a guess. Read my face.
This is
Tune into
something.
my mind.
This is something that breathes.
Yes. You're on the right track.
I'm going with some kind of fish.
Funny enough, that's where I was going down.
That's some kind of fish, and you're going down.
I says that's the route I was going down. Wonder can we narrow down what kind of fish? Dolphin.
Yeah, I'm sticking to fish. Dolphin ain't a fish.
Well, it's a fishy animal, right? It's the shape of a fish, right?
It swims with the fishes.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick dolphin.
Okay. Kim says wolf. Sky says sheep. Mark Annette says owl. Jazzy said picture of my ex-boyfriend. Jazz said jellyfish. Rick, beaver otter. Mick wants to know, can it be served with chips? It could be. But maybe not in the way you're thinking.
So it's either a chicken or a fish.
It could be a cow as a beef burger.
Yeah.
Sky says it's making her hungry. Lamb chops. Ike says wolf. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
It's a vulture.
Why would you serve a fucking vulture with chips?
Well, it's a bird. It's in the chicken family.
It's not in the chicken family. It's in the.
Vulture and chips.
It's a delicacy in California.
$2.50.
Can't believe you
Do
just said
one
a
more.
vulture's in the chicken family.
It's a bird. That's funny as. I'm trying to think of something. Oh, okay.
I try to think and nothing happens.
Yeah, it is a bit tougher than chicken. You'd have to beat it to death rather than strangling it. Are you looking at all the pictures to pick the most awkward one?
No. Of course I'm not. Well, it's not exactly me guessing what they are. All right. I won't cheat then. All right. Oh, God.
I think it's somewhat scaly. So it's either a reptile or something like an armadillo. It's definitely something with an hard skin. Or a thick skin.
Oh God, it's something unusual.
Into my mind.
A bat. I'm wrong. I know by the look of her face I'm wrong.
It's all right. It'll probably be a goat, Sam, and she'll claim it's part of the bat family.
To goats fly. Jazzy Squirrel, Annette Owl, Kim Unicorn, Sky Elephant, Mick Elephant, Mark Bear. Do you want a clue?
No, we just want to see what it is.
Okay. It's a camel.
Camel, Jesus.
Fucking hell.
Brad's like, it's all scaly. It's got a hard skin. It's actually funny because if you hadn't have called me out for just picking cards, I was going to give you the octopus.
Oh.
But that ain't got a scaly skin either. They're soft and squishy.
But it was closer to,
You're saying I look like a camel, Jazz?
I was humming Alice the camel has one hump.
Close to an elephant, lol.
Just an elephant's just much less furry.
Unless it's a mammoth.
True, which they're trying to resurrect.
And elephants do actually have fur.
Do they really?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, I just learned something as well.
So you get points for not getting any right.
Yeah. At least we can have a good laugh at ourselves. That's exactly right. Jazzy wants to do her box. Do you want to come up and do it, Jazzy? Or do you want to just have us tune in? Can I buy a vowel next time? Sure.
So we're going to have a look at Jazz's box now.
Yeah, Jazz went and collected a couple of things and put them in a box for us. A teaspoon. All right, Jazzy wants to.
Your box is pink, Jazz.
Brett.
She said it's pink.
Oh, did she? Oh, sorry. There you go, Jazzy. I'm sticking with my teaspoon. I don't know why I got a teaspoon.
How many things are in this box?
I don't know.
Well, we've got to have a clue of how many things we're guessing.
Maybe 4. 3 or 4. Oh, there she is. Hang on. Oh, hang on, Josie.
Hello.
There we go. Hello.
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 How many things are in this box?
I have 3.
3.
Right, okay.
Okay. In there. Okay. I'm going to write mine in the chat because I have a teaspoon for some reason.
I think there's drugs.
Like Panadol.
Well, I don't know. Just some kind of drug.
Mick
Medication.
would like to know if it needs batteries.
I can't see the chat, so
That definitely ain't a big enough box if it needs batteries.
that's there.
I think something like a cloth, like an handkerchief, or something clothy. And I think there's something small and metal in there. Was the 3? Yeah.
It's
I
3.
think
Yeah.
I think there's something drug related, like tablets. I think there's cloth. So what was the other one I said? Something metal, definitely.
Okay. I've got teaspoon, beanie. I don't know why. And ooh. Sam, you have a guess when I'm typing.
A necklace, a crystal, and a cuddly toy.
I can't see the chat. So, oh, there it is.
All right, I'll read them for you.
Okay.
Kim says a small toy biscuit card. Guy said a lighter, a card, and an earring. Mark and Annette said wool, coin, and cross. Rick said leaf, cross, and something egg shaped. Mick said ring, coin, and string. And I've said a teaspoon, a beanie, and a marble or something that is glass.
I
I think we've all had a guess. Oh, Seago, a ring, a crystal, and a bracelet.
Don't drop my phone.
All right. We're all ready.
Work this out without dropping my phone.
Oh, she just hung
Oh.
up on herself.
That's a cliffhanger.
I actually have a crystal box. That'd be kind of fun to put things into, because you can half see them.
She got abducted by
phone.
aliens. You got abducted by aliens.
I did. I did. I dropped my phone. The aliens come and got me. I better go get a pregnancy test that probed me.
Oh no.
The aliens have been in a box.
Got a button.
Ooh, okay.
Is that cloth? Is that a cloth button?
It's a cloth button, yes.
Yeah, there's my cloth.
Oh, you said cloth.
Yeah, I said something made of cloth.
Necklace.
Yay!
Who
With a
said
crystal.
yes, Sam?
With a
Yes.
crystal.
With crystals inside.
Yay!
Oh, some people said crystal.
Yeah.
Seago.
I said metal, so I got that for the chain.
Yep.
And a little gem. A glass gem.
I said marble.
I got two.
Yeah.
I got 2 out of 3.
Funny thing, Julie, is I was gonna go get a teaspoon, but I didn't want to move into go out in the lounge room. So I was like, yeah, no, I'll go in here.
Oh, that is very
There you
cool.
You all did really good.
Yeah, that was good. We all got at least one. Brett got
Well
2,
done.
didn't you?
I got 2.
No, you both got 2.
Sam got
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Yay! All right, I'm gonna leave you to it and jump back. Bye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Seago actually said bracelet, so he's kind of on
Yeah.
the track of the
The metal
necklace.
chain. Yeah.
Yeah, and crystal. That was brilliant. I have no else. I have no idea what else to do.
We've got your names to guess yet.
Oh, we can do the names. Yes.
Mhm.
Has anyone picked up on any of the names as yet?
Yeah, I think it's Jazz, Kim, and Seago.
Okay. Stop looking at my face, Sam.
Jazz, Mark and Annette, and Seagull.
Okay. Who's going? We go. Good night, Sky.
Night Sky. Oh, that sounds good, doesn't it? Night Sky.
Can I change mine?
Yeah, before
If you want,
them
yeah.
revealed.
Jazz, Kim, and Mark and Annette.
Okay.
I'm still going with Kim, Jazz, and Sego.
Kim, Jazz, and Sego.
Yeah.
Jazz says Annette, Sky, and Kim. Oh, we're guessing the names in the envelopes, Sego. 3 of our chat peoples, their names are in the envelopes. You have to guess which 3.
No, Sego, if you want to say yourself, say yourself. You think you're in there? Oh, Sego says exactly the same as what I've said.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
We have 3 names. Sego, Jazz, Kim. Mark and Annette says Sam, Brett, Kim. Rick says Kim, Annette, Sky.
See, I went on the assumption you wouldn't have used me and Sam
Yeah.
because it was too obvious.
Kim says Jazz, Kim, Sego. I thought, is that everyone?
Think so.
I think that's everyone. So I have sealed them, so
Well,
I can't cheat.
Me, Sego, and Kim are all in agreement.
This is like the Oscars.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the Emmy goes to number 1.
Yay!
Sego. That's the one that Sam changed too.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
You got it right the first time though, Sam.
Speech.
Well, I've got 1 out of 1 so far.
Number 2.
I'd like to thank my agent.
With a drum roll, please.
Number 2 is
And the award goes to.
Me? See, I didn't pick me because I thought it was too obvious.
all right.
Congratulations.
Number 3 is Kim.
Yeah. 2 out of 3. Yay!
Now, you know what's ironic about that
Yeah.
is that you, Sego, and Kim all chose the same 3, but it was you 3 that were in the envelopes.
Yeah. Ain't that weird?
That is really weird. Good job, guys. Good job.
That was cool.
Bloody brilliant. Bloody brilliant.
Right, we can just have a general paranormal chat. I'm just going to quickly grab a coffee because I'm getting a sore throat. I'll be back in a sec.
I'll go when you come back.
Sounds good. Ugh. So, is there any psychic related or anything else questions, or is there anything paranormal that you guys want to talk about or ask a question to? Anything like that? I think Brett's a little bit more psychic than he gives himself credit for. I think we all have the ability to be psychic if we tune ourselves in enough. We all have a little bit of a gift.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I remember the last time we did something similar to this, and we'd all came into the stream and we bought a few things with us and we had to try and guess what the others had. And it was you, I think, Sam, that actually did really well in those exercises.
Yeah, I mean, like today is not wouldn't be a great day for me because I woke up about 20 minutes before the stream started, so I'm
Yeah.
still kind of groggy in that. I don't know how to explain this, but my friend used to be blown away. Sometimes the Amazon drivers used to, they'd say, how'd you, we didn't even ring the doorbell yet. You know, I would be sitting here and doing something on the computer and all of a sudden be compelled to look out the window and somebody is arriving at my house.
Mm.
So I'm at the door before they've rang the doorbell kind of thing. It's just, I don't know what it is. You know, and it used to happen a lot with, an ex-friend of mine used to call unannounced and that, and he would arrive at the door, and I'd be standing at the door waiting, opening the door, just as they pull up, and
Mm.
he would say, how the hell did you do that? You must be looking out the window all day, every day. I says, do you think I stand looking out the flipping window every flipping day? Do you know?
Yep, you just get that inkling. It's like, hey, light and love, welcome. Um, Sometimes with the cat, like I have this strange affinity to cats. They always bloody find me. And when we moved in here, as you guys know, I got a free cat with the house. And she loves us now. And sometimes I can be in the lounge room and I'll be like, wonder where she is. So I'll go to the back door to go and call her, and she's sitting at the back door. It's like I just sometimes know when she's there. It's the strangest thing.
Yeah. Something, there's other people too, and all of a sudden your senses get hyped up, and you think you're about to get a phone call, and next thing the phone rings. Do you know?
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but sometimes it does. You know, there was another time I was doing a driving lesson, and all of a sudden I was driving along, and all of a sudden I jammed on the brakes, and the driving instructor says, "Go on, use the right away." Just before I jammed on the brakes, a car cut right across in front of me. Didn't indicate, was on the opposite side of the road, but cut straight across in front of us. And if I didn't brake, I would have ran into him.
Oh wow.
I'm back.
And the driving instructor says, "How did that happen?" I says, "I just got this sense that this driver was going to cross in front of us, you know." And he says, "You'll have a stiff drink when you go home." I says, "I don't drink." He says, "Well, I'm going to have a stiff drink when I go home."
Light and Love says, I had the phone thing a good bit as a teen. Yeah, it's funny how when you're younger, I don't think, unless you're really educated in this subject, you don't think about so many of those little things that happen, like drifting off to sleep and hearing your name being called and things like that, which they reckon is you kind of going to that other side of it. But once you're older and you start learning about the psychic senses and the afterlife and that, you pick up so much more.
I've always had a thing. It used to happen a lot more when I was younger, but it still happens occasionally now, where I will suddenly think of somebody out of the blue, and within 24 hours, I will either see them or hear from them. It's really strange.
Yeah, I'm going to have my coffee now.
Okay,
Oh,
okay. And I've had that happen with people. I had it happen last year. I think I remember telling you about that friend on Facebook who I hadn't spoken to for 30 years, and just suddenly thought about them the one day, and literally the same day they contacted me on Facebook. It was just so strange.
well, what about the one where you were telling us on the stream we did about Ouija boards? You were telling us about your
Yeah,
experience with
that
the
was
Ouija.
her.
Yeah,
That was
it
her.
was
That was
2
her.
days after.
Yeah, and I hadn't spoken to that woman in 30 years,
That was
and then
insane.
out of the blue, she just friended me on YouTube,
Yeah,
on Facebook. It was just so freaky. So
it's
freaky.
so weird. I often wonder whether, when things like that happen, whether you're putting something out, like putting some kind of a
Yeah,
connection out.
it could be.
Mm.
You know, but I used to have, you know, it still happens occasionally now, but when I was like in my 20s, it used to be, you know, probably a weekly occurrence that would happen.
A weekly occurrence. That's quite
Yeah,
often.
yeah, it used to be very frequent when I was in my 20s. But as I've got older, it's less and less sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it kind of like for me when I've had um, times that I've felt kind of more connected has been when I feel more balanced, when things are kind of running smoothly in your life and you're kind of in a good place. It's a lot easier to, for me anyway, to tune into things like that. When I have a lot going on and I'm anxious all the time and a mess, I find it really hard to tune in, or I find that things like that don't happen for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of it does come down to, you know, what frame of mind you're in. But I think that's the same for anybody who claims to have any kind of psychic ability. It is very much you know, linked to your, like, your emotional state and your mental state, without a doubt.
Light and Love 73. I don't do anything with the boards, but the spirit boxes felt different, not as threatening, just my experience. You know, I had a conversation actually with somebody, it was either last week or the week before, and it was about, hi Jack, it was about the Ouija boards and spirit boxes and things like that. And I've always kind of been curious about the Ouija myself, and I've done a lot of reading and watched a lot of videos and all that kind of stuff. And a Ouija board, if you imagine, is a wooden board with a planchette.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're using it and you're contacting anything, it's your energy and your intention you're putting into it.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's the same with the spirit box. The spirit box
yeah,
is a radio. And if you're contacting anything, it's because you're using your energy and your intention to contact it. So
Mm-hmm.
you're using the same methods with different objects.
There's
So,
there's absolutely no difference between a Ouija board and a spirit box,
mm,
apart from the level of technology. There is no difference at all.
yeah,
I think that the difference with the Ouija board is because, and I respect everyone's opinions if they don't want to touch it, don't believe me. But the problem with the Ouija board is Hollywood and everyone else has given it such a bad name and made it out to be such an evil thing that when you go in and you say you were going to play a Ouija board, you've already got that mindset
Mm-hmm.
going into like using it.
See,
So,
I have used Ouija boards quite regular since I was 13, 14 years old. And I can honestly say, hand on heart, I have only ever had two negative experiences on a Ouija board. And both times were as a result of people messing around while we were doing it and not taking things seriously, you know. And that is the only two times I have ever had negative experiences on a Ouija. And there was nothing demonic about the experiences at all.
when it comes, I think when it comes to the spirit box, some of us get this kind of we get this effect on our bodies kind of thing. It's kind of like pins and needles and stuff like that. And sometimes it happens, and then I think this is going to have results, and it normally does. Well, sometimes it doesn't, and I sort of, you know, I'm at two ways about it. Sometimes you'll get some results, sometimes you won't get any results at all. So I sort of believe that, there's some connection between the person and the operator. Just like Marcello Bacci, his work way back years ago and stuff like that. And I think the Ouija board is the same. It's the same thing. It's the person that's important. It's that person's energy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But because if you think about it, with any communication, you need two parties. You need a sender and a receiver. So it ain't all one sided. It's got to be working via both ends. If you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah. There's some people that used to put on the spirit box and stream for hours and stuff like that, and are not present at all. And I've done that, and the results, I don't get the results that I get when I'm present in the room. There's a complete different. It's complete night and day between being present with the spirit box and being absent. You know. Just running a spirit box 24/7, not being present, and that it's a hit or miss thing. But when you're there, the chances increase a lot.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing about what I've just put in the chat. When you said to Jazz, what did the boss say, Jazz? And I put,
Oh, is that what? Oh,
your parcel from Amazon is due for delivery today. That's what Alexa always says to me.
you're a cheeky sod. No, I was reading Jazz's comments because Jazz is in the process of moving, so she's packing up all of her belongings. And she had a male voice at her, yell at her the other day. And I was just asking her what it said, and she said she didn't know. He was just yelling. She couldn't make it out.
Do you know,
So,
it's really interesting that, because it's amazing how many accounts you hear of people who are either moving into a property or moving out of a property where they get this kind of thing start happening. And sometimes, be it voices or objects disappearing or, more physical type stuff occurring. It always seems to be when people are either moving in or out of a property. And I think, it's something to do with the shifting of the energies as you're moving everything about.
yep.
Is some kind of trigger for it.
Yeah, Kim said the same thing because she's moving everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's Kaylee or Chaley, but welcome.
Night, Latrobe.
Good night, Mick. And Stephen. I sleep in dreamland and I get real visions. I had a voice and it was so beautiful sounding. I reckon alien telepathy.
Who's to say?
Stephen.
There ain't a single person on the planet who can say what the origin of anything that comes through a spirit box or anywhere else is. All you can say is that you've got communication. There is nobody on the planet can say with any certainty they're talking to dead people, aliens, or interdimensional beings. Not one.
Let communicators define themselves. That's the way I look at things.
Yeah. I don't think you've pissed it off, Jazz. I think it just tends to stir them up more. I suppose it might be as unsettling for them as it is for the person moving. Because moving generates a lot of stress as well, if you think about it.
And she does. She is in a kind of a historic location, and say, for instance, there was the spirit there when you moved in, and all of a sudden he's got used to you being there, and everything's in its place, and now you're moving it around, and he's like, bugger it, why are you doing that? He might not be angry. He's just,
yeah. But it is very interesting that especially around house moves, people report a lot of paranormal activity.
Yeah.
So you do have to wonder what the connection is there.
Yeah, I'm nearly sure it's something to do with the shifting of objects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Moving things that we're in a familiar place, and you disturb that familiarity, and you start getting activity. Then it's possibly because of the shifting of items around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You have a wonderful day, Light and Love, and good talking to you and seeing you again. I'm on Insta, and you can find me on Facebook as well.
Don't forget to say your book's available for sale for $5 on Amazon.
My book's for sale. My book's on sale for $12.99 on Amazon. Order in the next 5 days with free postage.
A word from our sponsor.
You have a tired back. Are you waking up feeling not rested? Well, here's the supersizer 5,000. Chili marketers, bloody hell.
I actually found an interesting video that was created last night. It was, Simon Whistler. Today I found out he has a number of different channels on strange things. Now, he doesn't believe in ghosts. He often, when it comes to the paranormal, he completely takes the piss and that. And he actually had a good write-up which he was reading out about the Crying Boy painting.
Yeah.
It was pretty thorough. Spoiler alert. I think possibly the fires that have been happening around the UK were dodgy chip ban fires from the 1980s. I think.
Yeah, a lot of them were, and to be honest with you, that painting, there was thousands and thousands of that print of the Crying Boy done, thousands of them. And they were made with something that was fire resistant, apparently.
It was it's compressed hardboard, but I think it was actually the varnish that was coated on it, the lacquer.
Yeah.
But when was it the Star, the Sun? He said the Sun, but I was sure it was the Star newspaper that drummed this publicity stunt.
No, it was the News of the World.
Was it?
Yeah, it was the News of the World.
I think he got that wrong, but it was the newspaper anyway. But they gathered up as many of these paintings as possible, and that. But not all of these paintings were the Crying Boy. There was crying girls, and there was other crying boys.
Yeah.
From a different artist as well involved in that.
They dragged them all into it eventually. It spread from the Crying Boy photo to the print to or anything with a crying kid in it. Basically, suddenly became a possessed painting that was going to burn your house down.
Yeah, it actually happened. The first incident actually happened where you are actually from, Brett, which I thought was I didn't know that.
What, from the Midlands?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Your Pacific location,
Oh, right. I didn't even realise that.
It happened in It was an area called Swallowtail, apparently.
Oh, I don't know. It's probably one of the little outlying areas.
Yeah, some housing area called Swallowtail or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I'll have to look there up. But
yeah,
I know when it happened, the media they caused almost an hysterical panic over here with it. People were literally taking them in the back garden and burning them.
My mother broke up the painting that we had.
Yeah.
At the time.
It caused hysteria.
Yeah, I think it was a publicity stunt on behalf of the newspaper. To be honest with you,
The story for people in Australia who don't know was back in the 80s, there was a print that was very famous in a lot of houses, and it was this little lad with tears trickling down his cheeks.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some connection to the artist, that apparently the artist had possessed the painting because there was was it he hadn't been paid for the painting after it was commissioned or something, and there was a fire in the gallery, in his gallery, while this painting was in there, and it weren't damaged apparently. And they were claiming that the prints of this picture, when they were hung up on walls in houses, were literally causing house fires, and rooms were being gutted, and this painting was the only thing untouched in the room. And the media over here got hold of it, and they drummed the nation up to such an hysterical thing that everybody who owned these paintings was taking them in the back garden and setting fire to them to get rid of them. So, there's the power of the media with the paranormal when they really get involved with it.
Yeah, I have a link in my community tab of a video that was put together last night by Today I Found Out. It's a very interesting channel on that.
Yeah, stuff to
And
watch it.
yeah, it's 44 minutes actually. He was pretty thorough. But I think he was wrong about the newspaper company that caused all of this,
Yeah.
It was just it was an interesting video, and it was interestingly put together, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. There's been a few, it's like these religious icons as well, where you get like statues in churches that suddenly start crying or bleeding or something, and that they never research them properly. They just blind faith kicks in, and it's amazing what can happen.
Yeah, we had a famous case in Ballinasspittle in County Galway, I think it was. Yeah.
There's been ones dotted all over the world, ain't there, Sam? Especially with like Virgin Marys and statues of Jesus seem to be particularly prone to it.
Yes. I love the way Only Fools and Horses done a skit on that one, where actually the crying statue was actually, there was a hole in the roof.
Was that the same episode when they thought he was Damien?
I can't remember.
There was definitely an episode when he thought Rodney was Damien.
What they were trying to do is they were trying to drum up ideas to make money to put a new roof on the church, and then being Del Boys kind of says, listen, the father reverend, let's the statue's crying here, let's get people in and let's charge people money and all this kind of stuff, and it all turned kind of
typical Del Boy.
Yeah, it was quite funny actually. Yeah,
but it's amazing with things like that how and it happens a lot in the paranormal world on how things can take on a life of their own. From something that that's probably got the most normal explanation going, suddenly take on this paranormal life, and there's just no stopping it. Absolutely no stopping it. East Drive being a good example.
Mr. Nobody.
Yeah, Mr. Nobody.
Hey, Mr. Nobody, that flippin' cracked me up.
I just thought of something funny. How my mind works. I read Jack's comment, I found Jesus in my toast. And I was going to say, I found Jesus in my cheeses.
Well, there was that. Didn't you see that? I don't know whether you'd have seen it over in Australia. A couple of years ago, there was a woman over here who claimed that Jesus was appearing. A toaster, every time she made toast, was making the image of Jesus appear.
Oh my god!
And then there was another one popped up who claimed their toaster was demonic.
I think there was Jesus toast actually for sale on eBay and stuff.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could buy one that put Jesus on your toast.
Yeah.
Rick's got a question for you. Um, he said, "We're at the Cowra prisoner of war camp last week, expecting the energy to be erratic, but it was very calming. Anyone been to a place expecting one thing but felt something different?"
The only place I ever went to, and I mentioned it last week, was when I was getting married, and I went to an house, an hall, not far from where I lived, called Aidan Hill, which oddly enough was actually featured on an episode of Most Haunted after we got married. But I went there expecting it to be a really nice place. Walked in, and I actually walked out within about 2 or 3 minutes. I could not stand the atmosphere of the place. It was absolutely horrible. Absolutely, probably the most oppressive building I've ever been in. And the building itself was beautiful. But we walked in, and I said to Jo, my ex-wife, I said, "Can't have the wedding reception here." And she said exactly the same when she came out. She said, I just don't feel comfortable in there. It had got the most oppressive atmosphere to it I have ever encountered of anywhere.
Jeez.
We have a cottage in County Fermanagh called. My brain's not working now.
That's a funny name for a cottage.
Yeah. Gee.
The Cooning Poltergeist House. It's got a very demonic story behind it. Basically, those priests involved and all the rest of it. And I would rather not share what I actually think of the complete and utter story. Why the lady moved to America? Why the church helped her move to America? There could have been some sort of cover up. But the first time I went there,
Did the church inherit the house by any chance?
no, there was two priests involved trying to help this widow woman with 6 children.
Right.
And they eventually the activity basically this what the story is the activity got so bad that the church sent her and her children to America. Now I met people on site the second time I investigated and it was a completely different atmosphere to the first time I was there. But these people, asked, could it be a possibility that the priest sent this family to America to cover up something rather than a paranormal explanation?
Yeah, quite
maybe,
possible.
maybe the paranormal explanation was a smokescreen. But people have been sick in that house, me included. The second time I was there was not as bad, and I actually spent about 7 hours in the house.
Yeah.
So it was completely different. I think you got these renowned haunted places, and people expect something to line up with the story that they've been told. 9 times out of 10, your experience is going to be different than to that story.
Yeah. See, this is why, if I'm going anywhere like that, I prefer to go to a new place totally blind. And I don't mean cover my eyes up with a blindfold. I just mean I don't want to know anything about the place at all.
Do the research when you come home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And see if it lines up. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I did that the first time I went over to Monte Cristo because you go in, you pay. They've got a little office thing off separate to the house. You pay your money to go in, and then you can walk through the house on your own. And I went through there without any information or that,
Shoving
and
stuff in your bag.
No, I walked through.
That's a nice spot. I'll have that.
No, they got cameras in there, so you can't steal. No, I walk through the house, and it's funny too, like talking about places that feel different because when I walked through there, you walk through and it's like, oh, this is really nice and everything else, and then you get upstairs and there's one bedroom in particular that's not very nice when you walk into it. You can just feel it.
Yeah.
And I spoke to Lawrence on my way out, and he told me the story of the room.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's why. There was a
Yeah.
very sick individual that was in that room.
Yeah. But see, when that house that we went to look at for our wedding reception, there was no real bad stories connected to the place. And and it's set in beautiful gardens, and the house itself is beautiful, the hall itself. But there's just something about the place. As soon as you walk in, it's just got this air of not being welcome at all. It feels like the house itself doesn't want you there. It's really weird to explain. Really weird.
Yeah.
Mm.
I remember way back when I started investigating, and it was the night I got sick in that particular house that I was just talking about. The stories was that if you took anything from the house, like a piece of stone or anything, that you were going to be, your house was going to get haunted. You were going to have, demonic visions. You were going to have nightmares. It was going to follow you to your house.
Hmm.
All that kind of psychological stuff. And when I got out of the car after visiting the place, my clothes was covered in gravel or dust from the house and that. And I'm going, oh, I can't bring this into the house, And
Yeah.
I had that mindset. And I'm going to be quite honest with you. I walked into the house, got into the shower, took off all the clothes, and hosed down all the clothes. I was that flippin' scared. And then I went and I validated the inside of my car to make sure there was no. That's how fucking scared I was. I'm thinking to myself, those were very, very strange days because a lot of people, when it comes to the paranormal, they've hyped these things up, and
Yeah.
and they and you fall into that, you know. I can look back with embarrassment now, but at the time, the fear was real.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is the thing, Sam. There's a lot of overlap between the paranormal and psychology. And psychology can be a very powerful tool in the right hands.
Yeah,
And this is why a lot of these places get the reputations they do. It's not because of the paranormal side of it; it's the psychological side of it. People actually convince themselves in the end that they're going to see something or feel something or experience something. And when they go to the place, they do, but it's not a paranormal occurrence. It's a psychological one. And
yeah.
this is why you've got to be very, very careful.
There's been castles where people have taken gravel off the road, stones off the driveway and stuff like that, and they they want to bring something that's connected with the location home with
Hmm.
them. Then next thing, things start going off in their head that you've taken a piece of a
Hmm.
haunted location with you. Next thing, your mind starts playing tricks with you. Next thing, the location gets a load of these rocks sent back in the mail.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I took this, and ever since, the day after I got this stone, I slipped in the bathroom and broke my leg, or
Yeah.
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I started connecting up all these
Yeah.
things.
And that's the thing, Sam. East Drive started doing it. They started putting this myth out there about people took pebbles off the garden and nasty things happen. But what people don't consider is nasty things happen to everybody every single day. It's just the fact that because they've got this story in their head that they took something and something horrible is going to happen, the next time anything negative happens to them, they immediately associate it with that place, even though it would have happened whether they'd even visited the place or not.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I actually have the next one of my spirit box experiment things that I'm putting up. I actually did at night. I thought, oh, I'll do a night one, see how that goes. And for some reason, that cemetery at night just feels a lot different. And a lot of it is to do with the psychology. And I know
Yeah,
that
yeah,
because when I was growing up, my mother used to tell us horrid stories. Oh, the Yowie's going to come and get you while you're sleeping, and you can't go outside, and the men will take you, and like all
Yeah.
these really horrible things.
Yeah.
So I grew up being absolutely petrified of the dark. So now, even when I go out at night and I investigate, if something happens, it puts you on edge, and you know that it's psychologically your own head messing with you.
Yeah.
And it's a really hard thing to overcome.
Yeah. Psychology is one of the strongest tools you could use. It really is. And there is such a bleed over into the paranormal because of the nature of what the paranormal is, because it's dealing with the unknown. It's an absolute breeding ground for anything psychological.
Yep.
Yeah, I think people go to these places with a story attached, and I found a number of examples where the stories differ from person to person. Even written in books, the story isn't lining up, sort of thing. And I was actually, before my car broke down and stuff like that, I was looking into the story of the hitchhiker through a valley near here and that. And there's a couple of things that actually don't make sense. And I drove on this road myself in the dark at night time, and there's explanations that this apparition, this person, where the driver of the car thought was a real person, had their head up against the window. It was described in great detail. There was no breath on the glass and stuff like that.
Yeah, hang on, Sam. I'll be back in a sec. You'll have to keep talking. I've got a phone call.
All right. Do you know? It was described in great detail that the girl that was in the back of the car had their head up against the glass, but it was a cold night and her breath could not be seen on the glass. The thing is, if you're driving a car in the pitch dark through a valley, you're not going to see that amount of detail in the back of your car. So what was wrote in the book, to me, wasn't accurate, And then I go from one story to the other. The driver of the car was a priest in 1981, and the incident happened in 1981. The other story said it happened in 1967. Some of the details match, but other parts of the story differ. So what's to say that other stories don't differ according to the person writing the story? At the end of the day, a lot of these books are for entertaining people as well. So a lot of these stories doesn't have an accurate representation of what went on on a particular night. It's not. Some of it can be accurate, but to get an accurate picture, you have to join the dots. You have to look at a couple of different, of the same story, according to different people.
Yeah.
And try to get a comparison there, because sometimes a story differs from person to person, and at the end of the day, some of these books are for entertaining as well, just like YouTube videos and things like that.
The thing is, though, Sam, with any kind of story, you put 10 people in the same room and witness the same thing, and get them to witness all the same thing at the same time, and then you take them separately and you ask them what happened, you will get 10 slightly different versions. And yes. I always think that's a good indicator of places that are haunted. If you listen to the reports that come back from these places, if they vary slightly, I think they're actually a lot more convincing than the ones that match all previous reports. because
Yeah.
then you start thinking, no, people have been expecting this, and this to happen, and that's what they've reported. Whereas somebody who tends to be a bit more genuine in what they've seen will actually report these slight variances in stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of these stories, you're going back in history, and a lot of these stories, were sort of told back then. The social media, the Facebook, basically was the local pub, and you spin around a story in the local pub, and some of these people are jarred up with too many whiskies or whatever.
Yeah,
That story is going to be exaggerated, you know, in all sorts of ways.
it's Chinese whispers in it, basically, like it's just been said in the chat.
Oh yeah, I mean, like there was no, taking photographs back then. There was no, a lot of these stories, spun around in these pubs.
Yeah,
That's where all the gossip was.
yeah.
And words and alcohol can create very wonderful things.
Hmm.
And the thing with anything historical, like it's famously said, history is always told from the viewpoint of a victor. Which basically means there is a bias in anything historical anyway.
What if that's how the what's that? Mothman. What if that's how the Mothman got started? What if someone was just tripping on LSD or something,
Well,
and then it became real?
the Mothman one is a really interesting one because it was originally witnessed by two couples who were out courting in an area and they saw it. What they forget to mention was at the time when those first reports actually happened, there was actually a very rare crane in the area, a bird that wasn't seen in the area very often. And it's believed that is what they saw. And, they were smoking the happy backer at the time. That's a known fact. And things blew up. But Mount Pleasant, the town itself, was actually dying at the time. It was part of, I think it was, I don't know whether it was the wood industry or the steel industry, I can't remember. And, the town was literally dying financially. So it was the perfect thing for the town to do. And obviously it's rejuvenated Mount Pleasant now. To the point it's probably one of the most visited paranormal towns in the US. So you do have to take things like this into consideration.
Human beings aren't very, they're not a very reliable source. I heard a story from a friend. Well, he knows exactly how this apparition happened, but he was driving home from a friend's house. He was fucking dosed up on magic mushrooms, and he was driving home, and a steam train came towards him at a very, very high speed, and it scared the shit out of him. Magic mushrooms can make apparitions happen. He says it was the realest thing. It was so real in his mind.
Yeah.
And he says he was flipping terrified. He was thought that train was going to crush his van.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have got to take things like hallucinogenics and stuff into consideration. When anybody reports anything new, and I know it's an horrible thing to say, but you do have to look at the character of the person themselves as well, of whoever's reporting it, because if they are prone to, doing magic mushrooms or LSD or whatever, who knows what they're going to be witnessing? All in their head.
Yeah, we gotta look into the fact too that way back years ago, water was piped into houses with lead pipes.
Yeah.
And there was all sorts of toxins in wallpaper and all sorts. Very dodgy gas appliances, and there was a lot of things going into people's bodies that was having very bad effects.
Yeah.
And a lot of these stories are very historic stories.
And again, going back to the psychological side of things, if you know the history of an area and you know that there's a famous ghost appearance somewhere where you're visiting, that's already in your head straight away that you're expecting there's a possibility you might see it. And even the most grounded people have got no control over their subconscious whatsoever.
Way back in historic times, over here in Ireland, people were getting drunk on poaching, and that's
Yeah.
a homemade brew made from fermented potatoes.
Yeah, it's like a version of vodka, isn't it?
And if homemade things, they're not scientifically, they're not scientifically made. You can get a very, very strong version of poaching. That's why it was sort of made illegal, because it actually was killing some of these brews were killing people. Just like the moonshine in America and things.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of stories could be elaborated from people under the influence, like.
Yeah.
There's
You know?
do you ever see that movie, The Potato Factory, where the women worked in the potato factory and they used to take the skins to make alcohol?
No.
Yeah, that's a good movie. Potato Factory.
All right.
Mm.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it was a good
No,
movie.
I hadn't either.
I remember. I didn't know anything about poaching at the time, and I was in a friend's house, and we were sitting around the kitchen table, and down beside me was this big jar, and it was bubbling away, and it was full of potatoes, and I was going, "What's that?" And my friend goes, it's potato wine," and I says, "Potato wine? I thought potato wine was made from grapes." Oh, he says you can make wine from anything, kind of thing. He didn't want to say that they were making poaching in the kitchen, like. I didn't, honestly, at the time, I didn't know poaching was made from potatoes and that. And this thing was bubbling away under the thing, and I was flipping intrigued. He said, "Potato wine." Looking back at it now, I thought that was awful funny. The common place to hide the poaching, actually, was in the washing machine. Yeah,
What a place to put it.
yeah.
NDEs. I like NDEs.
Yeah.
It ain't, Tara, believe me. The feeling of absolute love while you're there is wonderful. It ain't. They just want you to leave.
I would love to have a stream one day of just all these people that have had NDEs and have gone to the other side, and just to hear everyone's experience,
Mm-hmm.
what it looked like, what it was
Yeah.
like, who you met. Like,
Yeah.
it'd be amazing.
It's interesting to hang on. Sorry, Sam. It's interesting to see, especially with NDEs, and it's something that seems to be prevalent in NDEs. Is they seem to be highly influenced by your religious beliefs.
Yeah.
Mm.
I've been involved in churches and stuff like that, and a lot of, I have I have been present when some of these people are doing talks and that, and
Mm-hmm.
some of these were near-death experiences, and that's how they turned to God. And I actually, I give a person a lift many years ago when when towing was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You stood on the side of the road hitching a lift and that, and I drove past this young fella, and then I was a good distance past him, and there was something inside me saying, "Stop, pick this person up."
Mm-hmm.
So I actually had to drive back to pick the guy up. And he gets into the car and he says, "Was there a voice?" The first thing he says, "Was there a voice inside your head telling you to come and pick you up?" I says, "Funny enough, yes." Next thing, I was going through a lot of stuff and all the rest of it, and I started whinging, and I started opening up to this guy. And next thing he says, "Do you know such and such, a name of a person in the village
Mhm.
that was on life support for about 6 months. I says, yeah, I don't know if he's still alive or not. And he turns around, he says, he's still alive. You're talking to them right now. And then he kind of made out that God asked you to pick him up so I can get comfort from the stuff I was going through. This guy was in his early 20s, but after coming out of in a coma for 6 months, he was very very steeped in religion and faith.
Mhm.
Afterwards, you know.
Yeah. But my NDE never made me religious. But I was never religious to start with, and I didn't have a religious NDE.
Mm.
There was no religious elements in it whatsoever. So I'm just reading the chat.
Yeah, Seago said he's had, what was it? 5 to 6 major car accidents where they were write offs, and he came out totally unscathed in every single one. And
Mhm.
I said, "You must have a bloody guardian angel on your shoulder.
Yeah,
Either that or you're half a
yeah.
god."
Well, it's like me. I died twice through alcohol poisoning.
Mhm.
That weren't my doing. Before anybody thinks I'm an alky. Um, I had to be pulled out of a pool when I was 11 by somebody because I was drowning because I can't swim, and I got saved then last minute. And then I've had the heart attack, and I'm still here. So I'm a firm believer in you don't go until it's your time, sort of thing. Because technically, I should have been dead at least 4 times now, at
Mhm.
least. Well, I have been dead twice, and 2 more times when I should have been.
It's crazy when you think about it, like what some people go through, and they're still here.
Yeah, yeah. And then you have people who die for the most crazy way off reasons. It's I do firmly believe that you're here for a set time, and nothing's going to change that.
Mm, very much
because
so.
because that NDE I had, it was all about coming back. And she in no uncertain terms, she told me I'd got to leave. I've got to go.
Mm. Yeah, that's still crazy. Like, this is what I was going on about before with everybody's own experiences. Like, yours is completely different to the others that I have heard from people that I have
Yeah,
known.
yeah.
You know,
There was no,
everyone
there
is
was,
different.
yeah, there was no going down a tunnel. There was no seeing dead relatives. Nothing.
No
It
pearly
was
gates.
No, it was just me and that woman in a room. She'd got a desk and I'd got a bed, and that was it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say room. It weren't even a room. It was just a fucking vast white space. Is the only way to describe it.
A nothingness.
Yeah, just white everywhere.
Yep.
But there was no religious elements to it at all. None. And that is because I've never ever been religious.
We've got a few people here. Kim said, "I seen nothing. I got ripped off." I didn't know Kim had had one.
Well, if she don't see anything, she ain't had one. That's what she's
Yeah.
saying. That's what she's saying. She's got ripped off. She don't have an NDE.
I tell you, my dad's had a couple of close calls. Like the last one, he didn't have an NDE though, but his last accident, he was a passenger with my stepmom, and they were late for an appointment, so they were coming around a corner in town here, and the car started losing it. So my dad, silly, he knows, pulled the handbrake on,
Hmm.
and the car kind of went sideways
Yeah.
and rolled, and it hit an embankment. and my dad was hanging upside down in the car. My stepmom got out, she was fine, and they could hear drip, drip.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, get me out of the car. And so he's forcing himself out. They helped him out, taking him across the road. The car goes boof into flames.
Yeah.
But my dad had like two of his vertebrae in his neck. One had twisted 180 degrees.
Oh God.
The other one was a quarter way around. And so he just remembers like his head going and then he was out. Ugh. That was crazy.
You know, my dad, way back years ago, and when I was a teenager, my dad was involved with the church a lot, and there's a place where an apparition happened called Knock. It's a bit like Lourdes in France.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing an all-night vigil in Knock, and he asked me to go with him for company. And me being a teenager, I'm not interested in doing an all-night religious vigil in Knock. There's no flipping way. And I feel bad about it now because that night I couldn't sleep, and I hear a truck being brought into the yard. I hear footsteps and stuff like that, and I know there's something going on. The next morning, I find out that my dad had an accident a couple of miles from the house. He ran into a parked car. He fell asleep at the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was there, he you know, it wouldn't have happened if I was there.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. He hated being constricted. He his head went and hit the window. He bent the steering wheel. He had 47 stitches in his stomach. There isn't a mark on him to this day.
Yeah.
And the nuns think it was a complete miracle, and Dad's going, you know, that something miraculous happened, and you know they were all sort of, you know, they and because he was coming back from a holy place, he was protected and stuff.
Yeah.
But it did stir a lot of stuff at the time, you know, with the nuns and that. Oh, your dad was protected by the Holy Spirit on the way home and stuff like that, you know. But I cannot explain, you know, he had a wound from the steering wheel. He actually had a lot of stitches in his stomach, and there's no. It would leave a mark, and it doesn't leave a mark, you know. But it was. It was pretty horrific seeing the car. The engine was basically inside the car.
Yeah.
You know?
You do sometimes, Sam. You see these accidents and the engine is pressed into the, you know, not into the driver's, literally right into the driver's seat. And they go, oh, yeah, they got out of it okay. And you think, you know, it definitely wasn't their time to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Boo.
Boo.
Uncomfortable silence.
No, it's all right. I was just reading
Yeah.
the chat.
Crickets.
Chirp, chirp, chirp. Hey, fairy.
Hello.
Hi, Fairy. But yeah, I do genuinely believe that. I ain't saying, you know, like there's godly intervention or divine intervention, but I do think there's things in force that prevent you from going if you ain't meant to go. Because technically, I should have been dead 4 times over now, and I'm still here.
Yeah, when somebody dies, you know, when they die young and stuff, you kind of question all of that. You know, you question why, and you keep questioning why.
Yeah, that's what I say, Sam. I believe everybody has got a set time, be it a short time or a long time, and I think if something happens in between that time, there's just something in place that stops it from happening.
Yeah.
I'm saving for one of those singing bowls, Jazz. I
For a
want one of
while.
them.
Oh, a singing bowl.
Singing
I
bowl.
thought you said a singing bulb. I was going to say, what the friggin' hell's a singing bulb?
No, singing bowl. I almost bought one a couple of years ago. I should have.
Yeah, I'll keep saying to Jace, I'm going to get one, and I'll just sit here and annoy him with it.
Yeah, I have two of them.
Yeah,
Small
so
ones.
I'll love the sound of them.
My
Yeah.
friend has one of the larger bowls.
Because you
It got
can
a
get some really
decent-
big ones, can't you, Sam? There's some really big singing bowls you can get.
Yeah. Some of them are hand beaten and that, and they're made by Tibetan monks, I think.
Hmm.
And my friend has one of those larger bowls.
Yeah,
Some claim that there's some cosmic matter in some of the metal and stuff like that.
yeah.
You know, like stuff from the moon or meteorites or something like that. I don't know if that's a publicity stunt to sell a product. I don't know. You know, but I'm pretty used to the little small one. You know, and I'm used
Yeah.
to the way it works.
You're really good at making that one sing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I got one in a kind of a second, a little market, a little market stalls in a big warehouse, and that I got one in that, and I did buy one in a crystal shop,
Hmm.
but the one that I got in the little market and that it's an antique, and actually that one that I bought for, I think I bought it for £5. I think that one suits me better than the other one, because the other one has got hand beaten dents in it, and
Yeah.
for the way I use it, it doesn't work as well.
Hmm.
The other one is more smoother, and I can glide
Yeah.
the ringer around it an awful lot better, But if you got a brass bowl of any kind, it should be able to work,
Hmm.
Or a metal bowl. Even a stainless steel bowl might possibly work. Even or a crystal bowl, a fruit bowl. If it's perfectly rounded, you should be able to get a similar sound. With the glass is a bit sharper than the metal. The metal's got a deeper sound.
But then you think it's amazing how anything connected with frequency, how it affects people.
Yeah.
And singing bowls, they're like the epitome of using frequency to influence people, and they do. Everybody seems to be affected by singing bowls.
Yeah, but people think that all frequencies are good. Some of them are absolutely terrible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They can cause your. There's certain frequencies that will vibrate the eye and make you see illusions and stuff. Some make you sick. Some make you go to the toilet. There's a brown frequency. Yeah, I don't need to explain that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so frequency, all different. You can go on YouTube and look. There's all sorts of frequencies there.
Hmm.
And a lot. It can explain an awful lot of what some of these frequencies can do and stuff.
Oh yeah. But it does seem to be that frequency does play a big part in a lot of things that go on in the paranormal world.
Yeah, the the Spurcom communication device by George Meek way back years ago wasn't actually a Spurt box. It was something like 23 different frequencies.
Hmm.
So it was based basically on frequencies.
Yeah.
Some people think it was all fake, but we don't know.
Yeah. You can't prove it one way or the other. Julie, I'm going to have to love and leave you in a bit because it's starting to go a bit overcast here, and I want to try and get that conduit up and running.
That's all right. We
rains.
might end the stream anyway because we're on 2 hours, and and it's 10:30 here, and I do have to get up to go riding tomorrow. So
Okay.
so we'll give it a go. Thank you, everybody, for coming in and having some fun with us tonight. Thank you,
Thank you.
Brett and Sam.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. It was
That's
great.
all right. And yeah, if you've got any ideas for future streams, throw them our way. But we will see you next Saturday at the same time. Everybody,
Thank
take
you,
care.
everybody.
Thanks everybody in the chat and all.
Have a good night.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Day.
Bye. Bye.
Bye all.